Good afternoon, alien enthusiasts. Welcome to the world of UFOs, where today we dive deep into the enigmatic and perplexing phenomenon of the Tic Tac UFO. These are not your average sightings. Tic Tac UFOs are a specific subset, and they are far from the typical cigar-shaped objects you may have heard about. We're not talking about the classic spinning discs or motherships. No, these are smooth, elongated, pill or Tic Tac-shaped crafts that have been seen all over the world, and they defy all known logic. Metallic or dull black in appearance, these crafts sometimes feature a dome or dark band. Their size? Roughly that of a small fighter jet. Now, here's what's fascinating. These crafts hover motionless, but that's just the beginning. When they move, they don't accelerate like anything we know. They shoot to hypersonic speeds instantly without producing a sonic boom or leaving a heat trail. These objects make right-angled turns with ease, almost as if they are aware of your movements, mirroring them. And in some jaw-dropping cases, they go transmedium, meaning they can go straight into the ocean without causing a splash. The US Navy has even coined a term for these specific types of UFOs. They call them the 5 observables. These are characteristics that we can't ignore, such as anti-gravity lift, sudden acceleration, hypersonic velocity without signatures, low observability, and transmedium travel. And believe it or not, this phenomenon isn't something that's just appeared recently. It has a long documented history that stretches back over 75 years. Before we get into all that, I'd like to take a brief moment to acknowledge today's sponsor. Trust me, this will only take 2 minutes, but it's vital to keep this channel running. Please check out Inkong. They've been a great supporter, and I appreciate the backing. So, please give it a quick look, and we'll be right back to the juicy UFO details. Once you dig into this subject, you realize it's not just about what we're observing, but also about who might be watching us. The idea that there's so much personal information floating out there, your name, phone number, address, is a scary thought. These details are sitting in databases run by data brokers that you've probably never even heard of. These companies can sell your personal information to criminals. That's where Inkong steps in, a service that helps remove your personal data from these databases automatically. You don't have to track each data broker down yourself. They'll do it for you and make sure your data stays safe. Inkong even offers a family plan so you can protect up to 5 people in your household. Now, let's get back to the mystery at hand. Many of you spaceflight enthusiasts have asked me about my views on UFOs. Some of you think it's strange that I support mainstream scientific ideas like global warming and the Apollo moon landings, but still believe in UFOs. Well, here's my reason. It all boils down to logic and what makes sense to me. Let's take global warming as an example. It makes sense to me that the massive carbon emissions from human activity are heating up our planet. We have a clear example of what happens when too much CO2 is in the atmosphere. Look at Venus. It's hundreds of degrees hotter than Mercury, even though Mercury is much closer to the Sun. Why? Because Venus has a thick atmosphere that traps the heat in a giant greenhouse effect. This concept makes sense, but so does the phenomenon of Tic Tac UFOs. For example, let's take the 2004 encounter, one of the most well-documented incidents where military pilots observed an object tracked on radar. The performances of these craft were extraordinary, far beyond any conventional aircraft. The way they moved, instantly changing direction, maneuvering at high speeds, without a sonic boom or visible propulsion, baffled even the most seasoned observers. What does this all mean? How do we explain these events with our current understanding of physics and technology? As we continue to explore the history and mystery of Tic Tac UFOs, it's important to address the skepticism surrounding these sightings. Many of us grew up in an era where UFOs were viewed as something out of science fiction or mere myth. But the more I've researched these phenomena, the more compelling the evidence becomes. The 2004 Tic Tac UFO encounter near the USS Nimitz was a game changer. It wasn't just a few eyewitnesses claiming something strange happened. This encounter was tracked by multiple military radar systems, confirmed by several pilots, and even captured on video. This wasn't just another blurry photo from a backyard camera. This was hard data from some of the best trained military personnel in the world. Now, let's rewind the clock a bit. The USS Nimitz encounter wasn't the first military brush with Tic Tac UFOs. This type of UFO has been around for much longer. In fact, sightings date back as early as the 1940s. On October 15th, 1948, in Fukuoka, Japan, the first radar visual Tic Tac case was recorded. A U.S. Air Force F-61 Black Widow night fighter flying over the Korea Strait picked up an object on radar. It was 20 to 30 feet long, shaped like a rifle bullet, with no wings or tail, cruising at about 300 kilometers per hour. Then, out of nowhere, it accelerated to 1,800 kilometers per hour, performing aerial maneuvers that no aircraft of that time could match. The crew was able to visually confirm the object, and Project Blue Book, the U.S. Air Force's official study of UFOs, labeled it as unidentified. This is what we now consider patient zero for the Tic Tac pattern. But this was just the beginning. UFOs like these continue to be reported through the 50s, 60s, and beyond, setting the stage for what we'd later call Tic Tac UFOs. The incidents weren't just isolated events. They were part of a larger, ongoing mystery that transcended time and geography. Take, for instance, the incident in Alabama and Florida in 1948, just months before the F-61 sighting. Pilots Clarence Childs and John Whitted were flying a DC-3 when they spotted a cigar-shaped object with glowing windows and fiery exhaust. This object passed within 300 meters of their plane, rocked it violently, and then shot off at an incredible speed, leaving the pilots in shock. The Air Force initially tried to explain it away as a meteor, but both pilots were experienced and they firmly disagreed. These early encounters began to form a pattern that could no longer be ignored. Tic Tac UFOs were real, and their behavior was beyond anything we had seen from known aircraft. Fast forward to the 1960s, and we have more compelling cases. On June 27th, 1967, in Wichita, Kansas, during a massive UFO wave, civilian photographer Jefferson Villar snapped 6 photos of a bright, metallic, Tic Tac-shaped object hovering overhead. The object made no noise, flew at low altitude, and displayed no visible signs of propulsion. It was a metallic, elongated, pill-shaped craft, exactly matching the later reports of Tic Tac UFOs. Dr. James McDonald, one of the most respected UFO researchers of the time, called it one of the most credible reports of the decade. These photos are still considered some of the best evidence of the Tic Tac UFO phenomenon. But the sightings didn't stop there. As we move into the 1970s, the Tic Tac UFOs continued to be observed. One of the most intriguing cases occurred on October 18th, 1973, when a U.S. Army Reserve helicopter crew near Mansfield, Ohio, had a direct encounter with a Tic Tac UFO. The object was described as a cigar-shaped, gray metallic craft with a red noselight and a white taillight. It hovered in front of the helicopter, emitting a green beam of light that illuminated the cockpit like daylight. The helicopter was yanked upwards against the controls and shot straight up into the sky before vanishing. Multiple ground witnesses saw the event, and the crew's instruments went haywire. This was not a meteor or a balloon. This was something far more advanced. Now, as we continue through the decades, the sightings continue to mount. Each encounter builds on the last, and the mystery grows deeper. The pattern is clear. These Tic Tac UFOs are not of this world, or at least not from any technology we currently understand. One of the most well-documented sightings took place in November 1986 over Alaska in Japan Airlines Flight 1628. Piloted by Captain Kenji Taruchi, was being followed by two small glowing objects. But the most stunning part came when a massive walnut-shaped mothership, nearly the size of two aircraft carriers, appeared behind them. Taruchi radioed air traffic control to report the size of the craft, which was confirmed on ground radar for over 50 minutes. The objects, which were reportedly the size of two aircraft carriers, paced the plane and then disappeared when military jets arrived. The FAA conducted an investigation, but the cause of the sighting remains unexplained to this day. Let's jump ahead to April 23, 2007, when another remarkable UFO sighting occurred. In the Channel Islands near Alani, two commercial pilots saw two massive, golden, cigar-shaped objects hovering over the sea. These objects were nearly a kilometer long and were clearly visible in broad daylight. Air traffic control confirmed the objects on radar, and passengers on the plane also witnessed the sighting. This was another multi-witnessed event backed by radar, and once again, it was entirely unexplained by authorities. Now, let's fast forward to the game-changing encounter, November 14, 2004, off the coast of California. This is the famous USS Nimitz incident that forever changed the way we view UFOs in military contexts. Commander David Fravor and Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich were dispatched to investigate an anomalous radar contact. What they saw was nothing short of extraordinary. A white, 1-2 meter long oblong object hovering over the ocean. At first, the object seemed unaware of their presence, but when they moved closer, it mirrored their movements. And then, in the blink of an eye, the Tic Tac UFO accelerated from an altitude of 80,000 feet to sea level in under 1 second. There was no visible propulsion, no wings, no rotors, and no heat signature. Lieutenant Commander Chad Underwood captured the now famous infrared video of the Tic Tac UFO using a pod mounted on his fighter jet. The video was analyzed, and it's clear that the object was performing maneuvers beyond anything that our current technology could achieve. The entire carrier strike group tracked the object for days, and the encounter has been studied by multiple UFO research agencies. Even Commander Fravor, who had years of experience in aviation, later stated, "I can tell you, I think it was not from this world." This encounter, along with the subsequent ones, has forever altered the conversation around UFOs. The fact that military personnel, who are trained to observe and identify aircraft, were unable to explain what they saw is staggering. The Nimitz encounter was not an isolated case. It fits a long history of similar sightings that share the same characteristics: extreme speed, sudden maneuvers, and a consistent tic-tac shape. These patterns are now hard to ignore. As we dive deeper into the timeline of Tic Tac UFO sightings, it becomes clear that the phenomenon is not a series of isolated events, but part of a persistent global mystery that has been unfolding for decades. In 2013, a U.S. Customs DHC-8 aircraft in Puerto Rico filmed the Tic Tac UFO diving into the ocean at high speed, splitting in two, and then maneuvering underwater. This is just one of many recent cases where these objects have shown the ability to perform transmedium travel, moving seamlessly from the air into water without any sign of resistance or disturbance. The sightings didn't stop there. Between 2014 and 2015, a series of incursions occurred along the East Coast near the USS Theodore Roosevelt. Pilots, including Lieutenant Ryan Graves, reported seeing Tic Tac UFOs every day for at least 2 years in restricted airspace. These objects display the same high-speed maneuvers and low observability that had been observed in previous cases. The Pentagon later released infrared footage dubbed the Gimbal and Go Fast videos showing the same Tic Tac performance that had been witnessed in the 2004 Nimitz encounter. Lieutenant Graves described these UFOs as being indifferent to the military jets that tried to track them, moving at speeds and altitudes that defied conventional explanations. The evidence is now irrefutable. These objects are not just occasional anomalies or random sightings. They are a consistent, persistent phenomenon that has been documented over the course of more than 75 years. And as each new encounter is added to the growing body of evidence, the question remains, what are these objects? What is the true nature of the Tic Tac UFOs, and how are they capable of performing such extraordinary feats? After decades of sightings, radar data, infrared footage, and eyewitness testimony from some of the most trained observers in the world, the biggest question still looms. How are these Tic Tac UFOs able to do what they do? How are they capable of traveling at hypersonic speeds without leaving any heat signature or sonic boom? How do they perform instantaneous right-angled turns with seemingly no inertia? Could it be possible that these crafts are using a technology that is beyond our understanding? One hypothesis that aligns remarkably well with the observable data is the concept of a magneto-hydrodynamic MHD drive. The idea is straightforward in principle. An MHD drive would ionize the air around the craft, turning it into plasma, and then use powerful magnetic fields to control and accelerate the ionized air. This method of propulsion would create both lift and movement without the need for traditional moving parts like rotors or jets. Essentially, the craft could glide through the air without producing visible exhaust or any turbulence, explaining why no sonic booms or heat signatures are observed during these high-speed maneuvers. For these objects to perform the kinds of maneuvers seen in the Tic Tac UFO encounters, they would likely need a small fusion reactor to generate the power necessary to ionize the surrounding atmosphere and produce such remarkable effects. If this is indeed the case, then it suggests that the technology behind these craft is far more advanced than anything humanity currently possesses. It could be foreign technology, or it could be something far more exotic, perhaps even a form of advanced, secret military technology. This MHD model helps explain the extraordinary flight characteristics of Tic Tac UFOs, including their ability to suppress shock waves, eliminate sonic booms, and make abrupt turns without the usual effects of inertia. The theory holds up well with the evidence, and it doesn't require us to throw out the laws of physics. While it's still a hypothesis, it's grounded in known physics and experimental plasma aerodynamics. Could this be the key to understanding the true nature of these enigmatic UFOs? Now, after years of research, photographs, radar data, and witness testimonies, one thing is clear. Tic Tac UFOs are a persistent and global phenomenon. Their behavior and capabilities cannot be easily explained away by conventional means. Whether they are the product of human ingenuity, foreign adversary technology, or something far more mysterious, the Tic Tac UFOs continue to defy explanation. So, what do you think? Have you ever seen something like this? Have you witnessed a Tic Tac UFO or experienced something that defies the conventional laws of physics? Drop your thoughts, theories, or analysis in the comments below. Let's discuss the biggest question in UFO research today. What are these crafts, and where do they come from? If you enjoyed this deep dive into the mystery of Tic Tac UFOs, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more unfiltered UFO truth. Don't forget to ring the bell to stay up to date with the latest videos. And, as always, check the description for ways to support the channel and help us keep bringing you these fascinating explorations of the unknown. Until next time, stay curious and keep your eyes on the sky.